Hello guys, this is another episode in networking in the cloud, and this is going to be the end of our series on ALB. And this is ending it by explaining how we are going to secure our traffic in transit. We want to be able to encrypt our traffic in transit when we're trying to reach our web servers through the ALB. Now, in the previous videos, we've been reaching our ALB on port 80, which is HTTP. In this, a lot of people want to be able to encrypt their traffic when they're trying to reach your web servers. You know, you might be out there in the public space having a free Wi-Fi and you want to reach your web server. You don't want people eavesdropping on your traffic, right? So you want to be able to have this traffic encrypted in a way that when you are trying to reach from you as a client to your web server, to your ALB, the traffic is encrypted. Then from the ALB to the web server, you want to leave it as unencrypted because nobody is eavesdropping. This is in your personal cloud account. And this is what you want to have to be done, right? This is what you want because you don't want to put an extra encryption that will slow the whole thing up. So that's for another video anyway, but the basic what we're going to approach here is that we want to encrypt our traffic because as a matter of fact, where you are skeptical about is the public space. You want to secure because you don't know who is out there. You want to be able to secure, encrypt your data, your traffic as it's traversing the public space, which is the internet. So we're going to be looking at that on this console here. So just buckle up and and let's go through it together. And so this is my console. We have the application load balancer from the previous part that we've been doing. So let's just quickly go to the security group. So if we go to the security group here, you probably see that I have a lot of security groups. So as you can see that I have a lot of security groups here. And the one that is particular to us is this one right here, the networking in cloud ALB. So if you look at the inbound rule of this is where we want to ensure that things are being done. You can see that I'm only allowing HTTP here. So this is the inbound from the internet. So what we are just going to do here is to have this with HTTPS. And that is exactly what we want to do here. So if we go here, we had another rule. We had another rule here, which is we look for, what's that? And this is it, HTTP. So we want it from anywhere also. And this is exactly what, so we can save that. So once that is saved, we can save that. You can see now this is what we have here. So we have HTTP and that is settled. So once that is done, we can then go back to, let's just go back to our load balancer. From the load balancer here, we can see this is just the way we want it to be. And the next thing we're going to do is to request an SSL certificate, a security certificate. So how do we do that? We do that from this certificate manager. As we can see here, we request a public certificate, then we go to request certificate. So in this domain name, if you already have, but I'm going to put one here, which is what I'm already using. So I decided to, for security reason, but you can see I'm going to put in it. Then the next thing you're going to do is to push on the next button. So you can see it gives you two options. Either you want to use DNS validation or email validation. I'll choose DNS validation, which is somewhat faster than the email validation. If you have access to that, if you're using Route 53 for the control, if you have your domain on Route 53, then it makes it just easier. So I'll confirm the request here. And see, I already have one which is working for me at the moment, which is this. So you can see that it's already issued. And but prior to this time, if you choose DNS validation, you see something like this below. This create record in Route 3 will be enabled by then you can do this. If you have your domain in Route 3 already, this makes it faster and easier. So after this has been done, the next thing we do is to go to Route 53 to create the C name towards our load balancer DNS name. So we create a record set because we just want to leave it the way it is. So this is going to be like that. So we choose alias, which is a C name. We want to use alias. So we choose from the drop-down menu, we can see our network load balancer here. So when this is chosen, then we can click on create. So once this has been created, we give it some time for the DNS entry to get propagated. We can go have a tea or coffee or just relax until it is propagated and we test it. On the balancer, we go to listener. We already have HTTP for the first for the unsecure traffic. Then we had another listener. We had another listener here, and we choose HTTPS. We can see. Then we say you should forward to the target group which we have, which is the web HTTP. The previous ones were for the one that we did in our previous video for the target for the path-based routing, which is the hello target and the subscribe target. But now we're using the default target group, which we did in our first video, which is the web HTTP target group. Next thing that will come is to choose a certificate, which we issued, which is the last one in the list. So we click that, and that is that, and we do save. The time we say we can see successfully created listener on a port on that port, and that is all that we need to do. And before we know it, load balancer will be responding on that port 443. So the instance launch an instance and choose Amazon Business AMI. I'll choose this. And this we can have this. Then this is going to be where we'll simulate our web server. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to simulate this in the user data, and this should be the way it is. And we can give this a name and say sec transit. And so we configure the security group. We use an existing security group of our web server. And this is just exactly the same way we did it in the first video. You might be wondering and looking at and saying that, oh, wait a minute, we allow 443. Why am I not seeing HTTPS here? It's not a big deal. This is internal in the cloud. So we don't want to complicate things. We don't want to slow down things. So the ALB is going to be communicating with the web server on port 80. But for people, for others coming in the public space, they're going to be communicating with the ELB on a secure layer, like I explained. So the traffic there is going to be encrypted, but by the time it gets to the ELB is going to have the SSL offloading. It's going to, then take the traffic, communicate with the web server on port 80, which is fine, which is still secure. So no one in the public space is going to be able to eavesdrop. Sorry, no one in the public space is going to eavesdrop into our traffic that we are sending it to the ALB, and that is exactly what we want to do. So once this is done, we can check this to this, and we can then have that set up. So once it is set up, it's just going to be the same thing all over again, which I'm going to make it appear and this is it, which is going to be on the target group. Let's just put let's register this instance here. So this is the instance we want to register. So let's click register pending target. So once this is done, we can see the initial. So we just have to wait for it to come as and these have not changed this. I changed it in the previous setting, but this is 2, and this is aggressive enough because if I show you now, it's going to show as on LD at first because it's waiting for the instance to get executed and install and install the script and execute the script. So if we look at it again, you can see it's already LD. So if you look at what I have here, this came out all of a sudden, and you can see you can see that when I try to reach even after our certificate has been verified properly, because if you look at it, you can see that secured connection, there's no more error. Well, I was getting 503 service temporary and available, and I'm like, because now if you understand how the errors when you're using ALB and or ELB elastic load balancer work, you know that the 5 series error are the server error. So it makes me like, what is going on? I saw this and I was like, what's going on? So on checking back to my EC2, I can see why I had that. And the reason is because of this. You can see my EC2, my instance was already stopped. So let's just go back here and start it. So that is why the service was actually not responding. So now that I've started it, let's see what's going to be. We just have to wait for it to come up. As a matter of fact, this is what I was trying to do earlier on, again, before it came, even though the instance was running, but the instance has not, in the target group, it has not come to being registered as healthy. So if we try this again, we can see that we are getting results of hello, networking in the cloud. And from there, we can see that this connection is secure. And this is exactly what we want to see. This is exactly how we want to see it. And that's it by that. If we go to our networking, our load balancer, we can see this is, if we try to reach it from here, then we can take out this one. We can take this out, this one, we can delete these and just leave only this. And that's how we do it to ensure that we secure our traffic, our traffic in transit, and to make everything secure very well. And let me know what you think about the video. Let me know if you're expecting to see what type of video you're expecting to see again. And if you want me to go over these to explain better, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed. So we're going to go now and do a cleanup to delete all the instances and the load balancer and take them all down. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful time. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what other video you'd like to see. Hit the notification button so you can always receive new videos as they come out. Thank you.